Hello, it's 10 o'clock. Welcome to the final news bulletin for today on TV3, also live on DSTV channel 279. My name is Grace Hamuasari. Let's take a look at the news highlights for the day. Auditor General Daniel Domelevo has cast doubts on the special prosecutor's capability to deliver on his mandate. At a public lecture to commemorate the third Kojo Banredu Memorial Lecture, he revealed that the newly created office is fraught with numerous challenges. Also, the Convention People's Party has described Ghana's trade agreement with China as one that is ill-informed and primitive. Speaking at the CPP celebration of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, party chairman Professor Edmond Dele maintained that if Ghana had followed the CPP self-reliance policy, the country wouldn't have gone begging for aid. To some other stories, Cutlass Welding Youth Thursday disrupted a National Peace Council's International Peace Day program at Sankore in the Brongahaf region. It is not clear what prompted the attack on the program. Journalists and guests took to their heels as the angry youth destroyed properties at the event grounds. On the international front, at least 136 people have died after a ferry carrying hundreds of people capsized on Lake Victoria, Tanzania. Many are missing, and it is feared that more than 200 people in total may have drowned. Rescue efforts resumed on Friday after being halted overnight. The MV Nyerere ferry overturned near Ukara Island on its way from Bugorora. Let's go to our first story now. The Auditor General, Daniel Domelevo, has expressed concern about the constraints of the Special Prosecutor's Office on its work. Speaking at the third Banredu Memorial Lecture, the Auditor General warned the Special Prosecutor, Martin Amidu, is being rendered ineffective because of lack of resources. The lecture was on the theme, protecting the public purse, keeping the gate shut before the horse bolts.
When President Akufo-Addo swore in Martin ABK Amidu as Special Prosecutor of the Republic of Ghana in February 2018, this was his charge to him.
Is for a high purpose and must not under any circumstances be used as an avenue for persecution or vengeance. The office will be required to do justice to all manner of persons. I want to assure him that not only will the executive, including the Attorney General, respect scrupulously the independence of his office, but will also provide him with whatever assistance is required to enable him to discharge his high duties effectively in the interest of the Ghanaian people.
7 months on, many have been asking why the Special Prosecutor has not hit the ground running. But the Auditor General, Daniel Domelevo, reveals why not much has been seen of the Special Prosecutor over the last 7 months after his appointment.
I would like to say that I am very grateful, Mr. Chairman, to His Excellency the President for establishing the office of the Special Prosecutor, who is ready to work with me, and our collaboration, I believe, can bring about the deterrence that we require in the public sector. But I want to submit that the Special Prosecutor is not sitting well at all. There is no way he can be effective where he is seated. I want to invite all of you to visit him. I won't tell you why. Go and visit him, and you see whether you can be effective, given that you have one deputy, one secretary, and no investigator, no prosecutor, nothing. I don't think one man can do that. So my submission is that if we want to do something, let's do it well. And I believe if that office is well resourced, it will help Ghana to go forward again.
Meanwhile, a co-chair of the Citizens Movement Against Corruption, Adam Senanu, wants the president to take steps to resource the office of the special prosecutor to deliver on its mandate. He spoke earlier on News 360 with Alfredo Kansi.
It's quite disappointing. One would have expected that, and I'm sure it is not the president's wish that this should be the situation.
Well, but that is what it is.
Yes, it means that somebody has slept on the job.
Who is
and the president ought to
job?
Find out who has slept on the job and hold them accountable.
But in this case,
for not fulfilling what he intended to achieve.
It is the president who, in fact, we had to recall what the president said.
Yeah,
when
he said he will be provided with
that
everything he
needs.
Provide
him. It was unequivocal in that
Absolutely.
statement. Very, very specific.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure viewers heard it. So who slept on the job?
Yeah.
Who has not carried out the president's promise to provide resources for the special prosecutor to work effectively?
It's a real disappointment because, you know, many of us thought that was a classic move by the president, choosing somebody who we all had confidence in. And we had no doubt that once he has the resources and the tools, he was going to deliver. Unfortunately, as you've pointed out, it's 6-7 months going on. Nothing tangible has been in the public space. So we've all been very concerned. I think that we should take the suggestion by Mr. Domelevo seriously, and all of us should pay him a visit. Indeed, about a week or two ago, civil society, we wrote formally to him asking whether we could pay a visit to understand what was going on. And so this revelation coming in the wake of that, it will just further consolidate our thinking that we ought to go there and find out what does he have in terms of furniture, logistics, cars.
I mean, one personnel, deputy, one secretary, and there is no investigator. And that's critical to his work, the discharge of his duties. An investigator to authenticate and indeed investigate some of the petitions that have been sent to him. And so he can't just move and start prosecuting people if investigators don't go out to investigate the petitions that have been given to him.
Well, so I know that part of the challenge was that the necessary ally coming as a follow-up on the law that grants him the powers ought to have been, delivered through the necessary parliamentary processes. I don't know whether the Attorney General has been able to do that because he needs to be clothed with the specifics from the ally to be able to execute his mandate. And that too may be one of the delays. But outside that, I mean, if he hasn't had the personnel to begin training, to orient them, then it means we may have a much longer delay in getting any results from that office. I think it's also important to point out that I think Mr. Domelevo was talking more about the capacity of the office.
And not the person.
And not the person, yes.
I mean, certainly.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
Nobody really doubted the capabilities and the competence of the person.
Yes.
But certainly about the office itself and the resources to work. And so you have no reason to doubt what Domelevo said?
No. So we have a strong leader, but we have a weakened institution at the moment. You need both strong leadership and strong institutions.
Let's just stay a while longer on issues around corruption because the Auditor General says government should take steps to decentralize the prosecution of corruption cases. According to him, this should be commercialized.
We should commercialize the prosecution of corruption in this country. That is, the law should allow, whether you amend the constitution or whatever you do, but remember, we were able to create the Office of the Special Prosecutor that amending Article 88. So we should find the same way to allow private individuals to be able to prosecute corruption cases. Therefore, if I am the one to prosecute and you are my friend, so I won't prosecute you, someone can take you on. So nobody is safe. And if people can actually make living fighting corruption, I think the fight against corruption will be strong and go better than where we are now. I know there are a lot of brilliant lawyers, accountants, etc., who are using their own pocket money to fight corruption. They are fighting for the nation. So if 10 million was stolen, which we would not have been able to retrieve, but by your efforts, you bring it back. If we give you 2 million, what is wrong with that? Because we are going to lose 10 million, and you brought back 10 million. So if you have brought back 10 million, we should be able to give you 2 million. And if Ghanaians know that this is done, I'm sure anytime the audit report comes, they will be scrambling, they will be fighting for it. If we leave prosecution of corruption in the hands of few people, some people will always get away with it. But you don't know who is your enemy. So if we commercialize it, whereby individuals can take up the issue and go to court and collect the money and get their share, I'm sure people will do that.
Let's stay a while longer on this issue and speak with private legal practitioner Martin Pebu. Good evening to you, sir, and thank you for joining us.
Good evening, Jane.
So, lawyer, we've had this call about commercialization of the fight against corruption. Would you say it is a laudable call, or this is far-fetched?
Well, there is no easy answer to it. You see, but this is the way I understand it. Basically, my understanding of this is that we should increase our efforts at prosecuting these offenses. Specifically, then we should increase the number of prosecutors. Because you see, when you say individuals should be allowed to go after the public purse, the money that has been lost to the public purse, individuals should be allowed to take the matter to court and to recover. The challenge is that a lot of these individuals don't have the skills. They would need top-notch lawyers. They would need very seasoned lawyers to help them prosecute. So ultimately, then it means that we should increase the number of prosecutors. You know, right now, as we speak, the Attorney General is grossly understaffed. The Attorney General doesn't have enough lawyers. Sometime in April, the AG mentioned that you need about 300 extra lawyers. But what I'm aware of is that the last time she was only giving clearance for 50. You see? So basically, I support what the Auditor General is saying, but in real essence, what it means is that we should increase the number of prosecutors. Then they can go to court to help recover these lost funds. Remember, about some months ago, the Auditor General himself had also mentioned plans to recruit his own lawyers to help him prosecute. We should support the Auditor General in that regard, because if he has his own crop of lawyers who prosecute with his supervision, it will help immensely, rather than having all the prosecutors stationed at the Attorney General's office.
So there's also the argument about our ability to monitor these cases if we commercialize them. How would you suggest we go about monitoring or tracking these cases if other prosecutors are going to come into them?
Good. So any person who finds that there is a case of corruption or any funds lost to the public purse, what that person would then do is that we have to blow the whistle. You know, we have the Whistleblowers Act, so we should resource the office and implement the law. So as part of the monitoring, the person who reported the case would be given some power, so to speak, so that he can keep checking on the case both in court and at the investigation level. So I think that would help, because when the whistleblower reports the case, he will have a percentage. The whistleblower will have a percentage under the law, you see. So what the Auditor General is suggesting, I think part of it is provided for under the Whistleblowers Act. The only problem is that we've not implemented it in a consistent and structured manner. So we need a structured and consistent implementation of the Whistleblowers Act. And that would, I think, partially or substantially actually meet the suggestion that the Auditor General is putting across. So once the person has his stake in the game, he knows that when this case is successfully prosecuted, he's going to get part of the money that is recovered, that individual, that complainant would, in a way, consistently monitor it. But of course, there should also be formal and official ways of monitoring. Cases. So it's all about the numbers. It's the number of prosecutors, number of officers to do monitoring and evaluation and all that.
All right. Thank you very much. That was Leah Martin. People, you're still watching News at 10 on TV3. We are also live on DSTV channel 279. We're back after this break. Don't go away. Welcome back. You're still watching News at 10 on TV3, also live on DSTV channel 279. Now, Cutlass Welding Youth Thursday disrupted a National Peace Council's International Peace Day program at Sankore in the Brongahafu region. Journalists and guests took to their heels as the angry youth destroyed properties at the event grounds.
Newsmen got to the venue at Sankore, which has gained notoriety for its partisan political violence over the years, well ahead of time. To the utter surprise of all present, a gang of rowdy youth emerged from nowhere and started shouting at the top of their voices that they will not permit the function to take place. They first demonstrated the seriousness of their anger by ordering that the public address system be removed. And as if that was not enough, one of them appeared with a cutlass, hitting and slicing every plastic chair that was within his sight. His action was so frightening and menacing that people, including the media personnel, had to run for cover. Ironically, the security agencies were not around to ensure public safety. The police made their appearance 1 hour after the incident. By then, the marauding hoodlums, who were believed to be NPP foot soldiers, had left. Frida Aban of GTV and Dennis Prepra from GNA were among the journalists present. They commented on what they saw and suggested.
This is the first time I'm experiencing this, and it was so frightening. You know, it doesn't augur well at all. I used to hear of it, you know, we read about stories of such incidents about this particular area, and I thought that it will never happen for me to witness it with my eyes. And lo and behold, it has happened right. I don't know, I'm so terrified.
If you go down to the people, they are telling us there is no justice. What this problem is a problem they have to solve forever and ever. Initially, I was telling one of them that they have to bring a strong military base here. Strong military base. So that any person who might try to foment trouble, will be, the police, the soldiers will deal with the person.
In a chat with TV3, Asunafo South District Chief Executive Osei Bonsu assured the residents of Sankore that the perpetrators of violence in the area would not be spared. He appealed for calm in the area.
After this program, I will see Nana and then get the names. I will tell the divisional commander and get them apprehended. How must you arrest them? Because they won't allow them to go scot-free. No.
Staying a while longer on this issue, the paramount chief of Sankore, Nana Ojedom Apiakubi-Pabo Katechie, has said that if the state fails to protect the citizens of Sankore, the paramountcy will be forced to defend themselves with guns to end the continuous violence in the area.
Yeah, kind of make my bias wanted. Yeah, President has wanted. Yeah, said. Sankore, you can say Sunafuna. Yeah, you did Sankore and Quadia, I see me na media. Yeah, the Jaman wrote for. Yeah, me come will be as what he says, send a man of 4 days. Yeah, yeah, but a pass with Jay, what is a kite, what could you try to do, what could you try to say the name of the young one? Yeah, that's what I penny say. Yeah, Sabbath, no one's a buyer. Or did I hear buy? One of the ones I buy. Yeah, I have conquered 12 back. And Mamma, you could be mad. Your mamma to send an announcement in Babuye, a brand dear crony, I won't play. And now you can't teen tantum. Me, Jananamuna, and them Sanko, my Yas, as soon as Sankore. Yeah, I bet Yaba. Say a suman, Yanya, young trouble, Ghana has a bill. Mukayapai. I buy a trooper so many in your fiso. Yeah, I buy a crazy car by the Babuy in Anna, yet the Patantopa. Yeah, and I'm so. Yeah, I call Crania Ferry, and young Gracia. Yeah, I drink by the drink. Yeah, Ya classy, nanam ya si ya de for to education fund, a crowd go school be an anam ya mobwa, ya sheni pa no school, no fa mebwa yen. Afa de ntokwa na mo de beko. Ya kuntokwa position bi aba kwase en konkopra. Ko certificate we.
To some other stories now, 70% of persons aged between 15 to 35 in Ghana are at risk of substance abuse. Medical practitioner and clinical health psychologist Dr. Isaac Newman Arthur, who made this known in Accra, called on the Food and Drugs Authority to intensify its surveillance in a bid to clamp down on the abuse and sale of illicit drugs and tramadol among the youth.
Medical experts say the abuse of tramadol, a pain relief drug, can cause psychotic problems as well as cause damage to vital human organs. The drug, despite being prescription only, is sold and used indiscriminately by young people in Ghana. As part of efforts to raise awareness about the dangers of drug abuse, the youth wing of Satellite Methodist Church in Accra has held a program dubbed Goberfest 2018. Speaking at the program, medical practitioner and clinical health psychologist Dr. Isaac Newman Arthur expressed concern at the growing illicit trade in tramadol by unlicensed pharmacists.
Anybody we find using tramadol, we have to just match the person to the pharmacy or the person who sold the tramadol to that person, and the person should be prosecuted.
He called on persons battling with addiction to seek medical help.
The people involved, they need help to be able to overcome those addictions. And there are psychiatrists, psychologists, we have counselors, we have psychiatric nurses and people in the health profession who have been trained to deal with those problems.
Mental health nurse and second runner-up of last year's Ghana's Most Beautiful pageant, Baba Boche, also called for more awareness creation about the dangers of drug abuse.
When you have a lot of information concerning something, you go out there and then deliver well. And also you're able to understand the condition that people find themselves in and then not to judge them, but rather help them out of it.
Other speakers at the program cautioned the youth against indulging in social vices.
Many thanks for joining us. That's how we end this edition tonight. My name is Grace Hamwa. Sorry. Good evening.